welcome back to the channel. Yeah, the car in front of me is black, it's not white, so that can only mean one or two things. Either I bought another car or the Evo's gone and there's another car in its place. So to explain in brief, the Evo thing just wasn't really for me. I've had all-wheel drive cars in the past, and to be honest with the Evo, I just didn't like the constant drivetrain noises, the constant electrical issues. It was super frustrating. I want a car that I can just jump in and have fun, and this is that car. So this here is a 98 spec Honda Integra Type R. It's a 99. It is the Australian new model, so these typically come with the bug eye front, which I'm not a huge fan of. The other Integra's got that, but this here's got a JDM front end conversion on it, and it's also got something else that I will show you in a second. No, it's not K-series, but because I have this thing now, I got some different ideas for that car. So we'll start off by having a look around this thing. It needs a bit of love. It's pretty good. The things that need to be good are good, and the things that are easy to fix, we can fix, like this faded roof. It looks terrible. But I'm going to grab the camera and we're going to have a walk around this thing and see what's going on. And then we're going to clean this car up, and then we're going to build this Integra up. So let's go. Right, so I'm hand holding the big camera, so sorry if it's a little bit shaky, but the other camera, the battery's stuffed on it, so we're just going to have to make do with this camera for now. I have no idea if I'm in focus. I don't know where I should be in the frame, but let's just make do with what we've got. So I thought maybe we should start off with a cold start so you can all hear the car. I'll set you down over here and let's crank her up. So as you can hear, she's pretty tame. Has a Fujitsu exhaust on it at the moment. I'm not sure if I don't think it's the whole thing, because we have another exhaust that came with the car, which we'll have a look at in a minute. So I'll turn this off and let's get into looking over this car. Hopefully I'm in focus. So the car's not very loud. It does have full exhaust on it, but the axle back was swapped on it before I picked it up, so just to make it a little bit quiet, because I did drive this car for 4 hours from the place that I got it from. But we have this stuff down here. So down here we have a custom muffler with a, I think it was a Kakimoto muffler on the end of it. We've got another piece of the puzzle here, and then another piece of the puzzle here. I think this here is part of the Kakimoto exhaust that's on the car. That I don't know, that looks kind of factory, and then this piece here is a custom piece that looks kind of averagely built. It looks like press bent tubing, dodgy welds, crusty looking thing, crusty looking muffler. This piece looks really nice, but of course they cut the flange off, so that sucks. But anyway, that's the exhaust, so that came with the car. I may use a part of it, but I'm going to put a spoon in one on this anyway, so I don't really care anyway. Now I thought we would start with the exterior of the car and work our way to the interior and the engine. So the exterior of the car, it's in pretty good condition in terms of dents and things. There's a little bit of a dent here. There's probably the worst dent in the car, and it's in a really crusty spot, so that'll suck to get out. The rest of the car, it's pretty good. The wing probably needs a repaint. So that wing probably needs a repaint. Obviously the car's black, it's flamenco black pearl, or whatever they call it. It has the AUDM / maybe USDM taillights. I have a JDM taillight over there, and I have a brand new JDM taillight over there that we're going to put on this car soon. So working our way around further, everything looks pretty good. It comes with the optional window visors. They are the genuine Honda ones. They are expensive to acquire these days, but they're not in the best condition. And as you can see, the paint on the roof check out that hazing and oxidization. We're going to sort out that with the DA over there, which I just bought. Right, making our way to the front of the car. So this has the JDM front on it, which I am a fan of. I used to have a 96 Spec in New Zealand, and now I have a 98 Spec here with the J front on it. And so for those of you that don't know, this car here has the Japanese front, which has got the slim sort of normal headlights you'd see on most cars, and then this here would be what you'd call, say, an AUDM or a USDM front. Not a huge fan of the bug eye front. I do like it with the genuine Type R lip on them. I think they look a lot better. The plan for this, now that I have that car, is I'm going to respray this probably championship wide eventually, and I'll get to the engine swap later. But back over here, they did a pretty good job of the JDM front on this thing. Headlights look good, bumper and everything lines up. For the most part it's good. So I think let's jump into the interior quickly. So there's not much to say in here. It's pretty much all factory, minus the steering wheel. No, it's not a genuine spoon wheel. It does have an NRG quick release on it, and then the S2000 start button mod that some people do. I don't mind it. I'll probably put this on the other side and then put the light dimmer switch back in here, just because everything's been set pretty dim. So I'd like to put that back in. So everything else in here, pretty much that standard as you can imagine. It's got the fake carbon surround stuff, the genuine Type R gear knob. It's got the little plaque down there with the car number on it. It's got the little handbrake surround delete thingy there. The car number on this is 49, so this is car 49. I don't really know what that means, but it's 49. And Recaro's in really good condition. Even the driver bolster is pretty good. There's a little bit of a soft spot there, so I'm going to sort that out. You can buy new bolsters for these. So we'll buy a brand new genuine bolster from Recaro to chuck on that, or just to put aside to always have. And that's pretty much it. Interior is completely stock Integra Type R interior, including the original floor mats. Right, so while I'm at it, this wing here is actually the wing that came on it. It's a Mugen copy wing. I'm not a huge fan of these wings. I'd probably go on the other car because that'll be a track car, and I did swap the original back on because I prefer that. So I took that off, and the other thing that came with the car is the original steering wheel in really good condition. I think I'm going to put that back on this car, and then eventually I'll take that steering wheel and put it in the track car. So then I've got my track car with that steering wheel, that wing, and one of those exhausts that I have left over. So let's have a look under the hood. Right, so I'll get my light and let's have a proper look at this. Right, so hopefully I'm in focus, who knows. So I guess a bit about the Integras. This is my fourth Integra. I don't know, I like Hondas and I like Integras. I do like EK Civics, EG Civics, that kind of thing too, but I've just always been drawn to the Integra. It was my first decent car that I had, and then this is the 15th car I've had and the 4th Integra I've had. Now, the reason I like the Type Rs is just they're so raw compared to things like the Evo. Like the Evo's nice, goes fast, makes all the right noises, but it's a big car and it just doesn't have that visceral feeling. Like you're sitting in that car and it's just you molding with the car and driving. With the Type Rs, obviously they don't have sound deadening in them, so they're loud. They make a bit of noise in the cabin, which I like, and I also like the really high revving nature of these engines. I would love to get a K-Series engine, which we'll talk about that in a minute. This car is always going to stay with the B-Series engine. I think I'd like to keep this car pretty true to form, and I don't really want to do an engine swap or anything in this, but let's have a look. So here's the engine bay, and what I was going to mention before, along with the JDM front that was put on this is actually a JDM B18c and LSD gearbox as well, which is awesome because I just prefer to have a JDM one in there than, you know, the Australian one. It's got a little bit more power. You can put down that to whatever you want. They did have different exhausts and things on them for different countries, but there you go, JDM B18c. So I believe that the engine cover has been painted. It doesn't look too bad. Bit of scuffing down here, so I may end up buying a new one and just leaving it in storage for now. It's got the factory oil cap, which you can't buy those anymore and they're hard to find. It's got some carbon fiber spark plug cover. Who knows what that's off? Could be off anything. It's got the engine intake, which I don't like. I think the idea is when we do an engine swap on that car, the factory airbox will be going in here, and I'm buying a brand new intake pipe from Honda that will go in there. Other things this came with was the Koyorad, so happy with that. Nice quality radiator. I actually put this Mishimoto fan in yesterday just because the factory fan, it wasn't mounted properly and it was vibrating and rattling around in there, so I thought, well, I have those fans, might as well chuck them in there. And the reason that I have those fans is because I bought a radiator as well for that car, thinking I was going to keep that B series, but I'm not. So I thought I might as well chuck the fans on here, and that radiator, I'm not sure what I'll do with it. The radiator was like 60% off and the fans were like 60% off with a big sale, so I thought, why not grab them? They're so cheap. So as you can see, the engine bay is pretty clean and it's still pretty stock, so I'm really happy about that. As I said, I'm going to keep this relatively stock. It's got headers on it. They're just blanks. I don't know what they are. I'll probably change those. They hang really low, and for that reason the car is scraping. And it also has fully adjustable suspension on it, which I'm probably going to leave on here. They ride all right. So that's all the good things with the car. Now for the bad things that we need to fix. Now there's a few things that come up straight away. One, which I've already fixed, was the accelerator box had a crack in it. The steel in there had fatigued. So I got the welder out yesterday and tacked that up, and now the accelerator is all aligned and works properly. Another thing I would like to address is the wiring. As you can see, the wiring in here is pretty naff. Like, there's not even an amp in the car. Well, actually there is, but it's not hooked up, and I don't know where that goes to. So we're going to take this out. There's a random hose here coming from this sensor here that's doing nothing, so we would like to sort that out. And down in here there is some kind of headlight conversion light thing. I don't know what's going on. And if you look further down in there, there's a bunch of wires down there, just, you know, floating around, really poorly done. So I'd like to sort out that wiring, get rid of that wiring over there. Same down in this headlight, I need to sort all that out. There's random wires under the dash, so those are the immediate problems here that I see. I'm going to do a gearbox oil change. The gearbox is pretty good, but it is a little notchy through some gears, so I'm thinking what I will do is I will swap the oil, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the clutch pedal because I believe it's not in the right spot. So adjust that, clean oil, should be golden. So another thing we want to address straight away is the paint. So the roof is the worst. It's got a lot of oxidization on it, so we need to get the DA out and give that a polish and see what we can do with it. I'm hoping it'll come up nice. Besides that, the rest of the car's fine. Like, it's, you know, it needs a cut and polish. There are scratches in it, like swirl marks and stuff, but it's just the roof that's got that actual oxidization look. As you can see, the hood, there's no oxidization on there. Now I do believe that there's no oxidization on the bonnet and that because obviously they did the JDM front on it. That was done in the last few years. So the whole front end would have been painted. I can see where the guards of championship white before. So front end's fine anyway. It's just that roof that's got that bit of oxidization we need to clean up. Other than that, wheels, I don't mind them. Can't remember what they're called. They look good on this car. I'm not sure how heavy they are. I may end up swapping them out, but for now I'm happy with those. Now for the other Integra. So where do we start with this thing? First of all, it's absolutely filthy. and she's in full grandma spec right now. The plan with this thing, you can see all the parts there I've been ripping out and batteries and things. The idea for this thing is we are going to K-swap this car. I wanted to keep it B series, but now that I have the ITR, I might as well make this K series. So the plan is I'll find a good condition K24 for this. We'll do the bottom end mods so that we can rev it higher, and we'll find a transmission and all that to go with it. The interior of this car then will likely be mostly gutted. There's some harsh rules in Australia if you want to drive a car on the road, so I'm not sure how much interior and stuff I can pull out, but I'll do my very best. Some of the stuff I've pulled out is actually sitting over there. I've already pulled out speakers and all sorts of stuff. It's got a stereo delete in there. So let's pop the hood on this thing and have a look and see what the condition of this thing looks like. Right, so here is the other Integra. As you can see, B18B, as you already know. I have actually already pulled out the air conditioning. The whole air conditioning unit is sitting over there on the floor. Race car didn't need AC, so we pulled that out already. It wasn't working and it had already been bled, so I was like, I might as well just rip that thing out. Another thing I have done is I've actually put in a shorter throttle cable, so it doesn't have the big ugly long throttle cable like this thing here that loops all the way around. Probably going to get another one of those throttle cables for the Type R, because I don't know why they put such a long throttle cable in them. So as you didn't know, you can use a Civic Type R throttle cable and swap them over, or you can buy another cable from another company who I cannot remember. It might have been like Hybrid Racing or something, can't remember. Anyway, cables in there, and everything else in here is just pretty tidy and standard. The Type R came with this red hose, which is hideous, so I've actually put the black hose on that car to make it not so hideous. So I need to get this Integra road registered. I've done all the work on it that I need to get it registered, so I just got to take this in now, and as soon as this is registered, I'm going to source the K series stuff for this, and we will pull this engine out and get the mounts, chuck everything in, and happy days. And I'd also like to paint this championship white. So I think the plan of attack will be, when I pull out the engine, I will spray the engine bay championship white, drop in the K series and all that, and then later on down the road we'll paint it white. At the moment it's not really in the budget to paint this thing white. You know, it takes a lot of time and a lot of money to paint a car properly, and I also want to find the Type R front lip for this, because they look better than any other lip on these things in my opinion. And part of that, as I said earlier, we will put the Mugen wing on this car and leave the Type R wing on this car. Interior wise for this car, as I said, it'll be fully stripped, or as stripped as I can get it. So we will be putting a race seat in here, we'll be taking the Momo and quick release out here, putting it in this car, and that'll be good to go. And this airbox will be going in here so that we can get rid of that big alloy pipe, because we don't need that. So I think that's about it for now. I now have two Integras. One's better than the other. One might not always be better than the other, or will it? I don't know. K-series track car and a relatively stock Integra Type R. I don't know. But anyway, that concludes this video. Thank you for watching. We're going to be making content on Integras and a lot more of it. I've always worked on Hondas, and I enjoy it so much more than other cars, so that gives me motivation to put more content out on working on these things. And while I'm thinking about it, I did actually pull apart this manual gearbox, which is actually in good condition, and that manual gearbox was going in the Integra over there. But I think what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to sell that gearbox to partially fund the K-swap on this car. You know, that thing, I can get like $1,000 for that, plus all of the linkages and and the ECU, everything else I've got for it. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Sell that thing, help fund the K-swap, and then this thing here, we just got some tidying up to do, which I'm going to start with that roof and see how we get on. So again, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe if you're into Honda content, because there'll be some good stuff coming, and we'll see you in the next video.